Alrighty guys, we're back for some Boros Humans, and this is a Lost Caverns of Ixalan standard brew. We're gonna go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Red Cat and I build all kinds of different decks, but I do prefer aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well. Also, we do have that Discord link as well as that Patreon link down in the description if you're interested in joining either of those up. Okay, what do we got packed into the build here? A whole bunch of new humans to go over, but first, check this out, guys. 37 creatures in this deck and 23 lands, so everything is a creature and all 37 of them are humans, so beautiful. That means we're able to play things like Cavern of Souls and Secluded Courtyards as 4 of without any punishment at all, which is kind of wild. Cavern of Souls is crazy, dude. This bottom ability, so you call human when you play this, and you add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, and that spell can't be countered. Oh, buddy. Secluded Courtyard has that similar ability, however, instead of like that whole can't be countered nonsense, instead you can just use that for creature abilities too, so that's something you can't do with Cavern of Souls. Not too worried about that at all, it's going to be excellent in here. So we're also able to play cards like Thalia without ever getting taxed ourselves. We're literally only taxing the opponent. But instead of all 4 of these, we only have 3, and for good reason. A lot of the legendaries in here we don't want to see duplicates of when we hit the Geological Appraiser on the top end. So this is a 4-mana 3/2 Human Artificer. When Geological Appraiser enters the battlefield, if you cast it, discover 3. So Discover 3 is exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less. You may cast it without paying its mana cost or put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So worst case scenario with Geological Appraiser is if you already had a legendary on the board and off of the Appraiser you hit that other legendary, then it just goes to your hand instead of being able to cast it, which is one of the reasons we don't have all 4 Thalias in here. But also, I just wanted a very large variety of different humans to be able to hit as well. So what else do we got in here that's new? We have Inti, a Seneschal of the Sun, something like that. So it's a 2-mana 2/2 legendary creature, human knight. Whenever you attack, you may discard a card. So that's important to note. Like this card doesn't have to attack. It's just whenever you attack with like anything. So you may discard a card. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains trample until end of turn. That seems good. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until your next end step, and that's just a little bonus. I think realistically this is in here for those extra counters and the trample as well. We'll see how often that actually gets to come into play, but yeah, 3 of them because I really want to see this today to see what it actually is able to do. Pairing this with cards like Adeline kind of seems insane, right? Got a couple of these in here. Maybe we want 3. It's the same concept though, with like the Geological Appraiser. Whenever you discover, you'd very much rather actually be playing the card instead of just slamming it into your hand instead. So yeah, a couple Adelines going to go a long way in here, man. Just going wide. And then how often is Adeline chumped? Pretty often. So like the trample off the Inti just seems insane to stack onto that Adeline. So we have all 4 Brutal Cathars in here as the removal. Being a human is obviously a key factor. And then also being able to hit that off of the Appraiser, dude, I think this Discover 3 is just going to be absolutely disgusting on this top end. I really do. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much it actually does. But yeah, imagine playing the Appraiser and then grabbing a Brutal Cathar off of it, picking something up on the opponent's board, then swinging in like with your Inti on the board too. Like, I guess it really depends how much you have stacked onto the board already, but yeah. Okay, we have a couple Imodane's Recruiters in here. There's a 3-mana 2/2 Human Knight. When it ETBs, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. That seems kind of insane. Again, another great one to hit off of that Discover, huh? We have a couple Anim, Pakal's, Thousandth Moon. The names in this new set have really been getting me, guys. It's something like that, though, hopefully. This is a 3-mana 1/2 legendary creature, Human Soldier. Whenever you attack with 1 or more non-gnome creatures, you put a +1/+1 counter on Anim, then create X/1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens that are tapped and attacking, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Anim Pakal. That seems good. That seems solid, dude. It seems like we could go wide really fast. If this survives, even a couple turns, like, I'll tell you what, man. Now, there's a good chance that it doesn't survive, but at least maybe some of your other creatures have a good chance of surviving then, right? If they're using spot removal to take care of this, maybe you actually get to keep some of your other great cards on the board too. So you could always plug extra counters onto this off of cards like Inti, so that's going to pair really nicely. Also, like, counters on Inti is going to work well with another new human. This is Warden of the Inner Sky. It's a 1-mana 1/2. As long as Warden has 3 or more counters on it, it has Flying and Vigilance. Nice. Now, hopefully 3 isn't too many, but I don't know. This might actually be a janky pick, but it does have this bottom ability too, where you can tap 3 untapped artifacts and or creatures you control, put a +1/+1 counter on Warden of the Inner Sky, and then you also get to scry 1, activate only as a sorcery, unfortunately. But yeah, we're going a little wide. There's going to be turns where we don't want to swing in with our like 1/1 humans off of Adeline or something, right? So maybe we could use that to tap them and power up the Warden. And then since we have other ways to give this counters too, maybe it won't be unheard of to actually give this Flying and Vigilance. Only a 2 of though. Again, like these new humans, I'm super interested to see how much they're actually going to do. There's a lot of competition for humans because there's just so many good ones, right? Like the other one drops in here, all 4 Recruitment Officers, terrific. Helps keep our hand stocked if we really need to use that 4-mana ability, which you end up using Recruitment Officer's ability way more than you would ever think. So we have all 4 Hopeful Initiates in here too. The training is going to be so excellent in here. We have all 4 Coppercoat Vanguards. Each other human gets +1/+0 and Ward 1. That seems pretty essential for this style of build. We have a couple Intrepid Adversaries. With that adversary ability there, being able to buff up a nice wide board state seems pretty insane. The lifelink goes a long way too. We also have a Feldon in here, just a powerful human. Maybe this can help us see more off the top too, and I really like having that haste as well. Okay, guys, is that everything, huh? Now we have a decent amount of legendaries in here, so I'm trying out a 1 of for Plaza of Heroes. Hopefully it doesn't hold up our like front of the build whenever like turn 1 comes around, but I don't think it will. Like I think the mana base is going to be absolutely terrific in here since we have all 4 of those courtyards in Cavern of Souls. Yeah, just trying out a 1 of Plaza of Heroes. You never know, maybe it'll protect an Adeline one game or something. Or the Anim Pakal, right? We have a single Restless Bivouac. That's another way to give counters to that Warden of the Inner Sky. That could be interesting, but only a 1 of because it is a tapped land. I do think those early turns are going to be very, very important, which is why we're opting for the fast land and the pain land with the Forge. Got Crucible. We got a couple Seat of the Empires acting as more removal in here because the 4 Brutal Cathars probably isn't enough, right? Leaning towards the white mana because that's what the deck is leaning towards. No honorable mentions because, guys, there's just like way too much that we could possibly pack into humans, and so like there's a lot of different variations we could probably do on Boros humans alone. So no honorable mentions today. Go ahead and let me know in the comments what would you add or take out as far as Boros humans goes, but we'll obviously talk more about that in the final thoughts. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked and see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game here. What am I expecting from the build? I think it's going to be good, dude. I'm not expecting jank at all, so I guess I should be a little concerned since I'm expecting like a lot from this, but we'll see, we'll see. Good hand. Ooh, we go first. Wow, this is a really good hand. Yeah, where do I start? Vanguard as a surprise later on could be good. I guess it depends what the opponent ends up playing, but like Inti on turn 2, start getting counters on the Warden could be good. What do we discard at that point? Mono. Okay, good news. We went first against this. If it's mono red, like it's very good to go first here. All right, I'm gonna keep Inti back for now. We are gonna go into Vanguard since this is mono red. I guess like burn is, well, they could just burn away the Vanguard. Yeah, maybe it would have been better to hold that back as a surprise, but it would have been the same concept, like burn away the Inti too. We have our turn 3 Adeline. Yeah, we're gonna take that 3. Ooh, do I go for this instead? Are we playing new cards today, guys? Let's do this instead of the Adeline. Get the counters rolling on this, huh? Although Adeline blocks a lot better. Yeah, Adeline could have blocked the 3/3 potentially, but then Yeah, since they have Ward, they want to take out Vanguard first. Oh, guys, we can totally outrace this. I'm so happy that we went first here, but... Ooh, I'm gonna say no blocks. Again, I think we can outpace this. I'm a little concerned. They go for that lightning strike on the Vanguard. Okay. Ow. So I went no blocks because I didn't want to lose the Anim because I want to get as many gnomes as possible. So Brutal Cathar's decent. Take the Adversary, but then they have the Adversary ability. Once they burn the Brutal Cathar, they can spend 3, get that lightning strike back. So it's probably Adeline for the turn. We're at 8, guys. Are we going to survive the turn? We could keep this as a blocker. Like, we still could just swing here. We're getting enough. Okay, we should keep 2 blockers, right? I think so. A couple more gnomes swinging in. A lot of 1/1s. They're down to 8. I think keeping 2 blockers is pretty important when we're at 8. Because we have great blocks around, don't we? Regardless of the combat tricks, we need to get those blocks in. Regardless of what creatures we lose here. Okay, it's going to be maybe a lightning strike. Lightning strike face would be lethal? 2/2. No, we'd be at 1. Lightning strike Adeline takes out both of our creatures, and they're still getting us down to 4. Oh, what a draw, dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that does it. Like, maybe it would have been Adeline for the turn, and that would have only been 6 through. But recruitment... Oh, I said Recruitment Officer. Yeah, we got a lot of recruiters in here, huh? But no, Imodane's Recruiter is the draw we needed to see to wrap up the game then and there. That's something else, dude. Wow. Yeah, you can see how important it was to keep those 2 blockers back, because the... I mean, we go up against enough mono red to just know how insanely explosive it can be. If we didn't see Recruiter, and we didn't have lethal, even if we played Adeline, right? Then... and we're at 3 too. So we would have been in some serious trouble, man. Because this has trample, so like keeping chump blockers back wouldn't have done too much. So maybe it still would have been Adeline, swing with like 1 creature, and then just keep like a whole bunch of blockers back. But even so, as soon as they untap, it could just be burned to our face. Brutal Cathar taking the Adversary out of the equation isn't great either, because yeah, they could burn it, potentially like play a land, have the Adversary ability, and then just lightning strike our face. Like, there was just so many ways for them to win. Us going first there was super essential. If they went first, that would have been theirs easily. So anyone's game. And also, we needed to see something that buffed that wide board state too. Luckily, we do have a decent amount in here, huh? Well, no. How much mana did we have? Because if we saw our Adversary, we didn't have 4 mana to buff the board state that way. So, like, Recruiter was just, like, best case scenario easily. Wow, we got so lucky. Holy cow. Opponent goes first. Let's see if mono red gets some revenge here. Okay, Kamano. Okay, Cavern of Souls human. And it's gonna be Recruitment Officer over the Warden of the Inner Sky, because both can get burnt away easily enough. But Officer lets us potentially get more damage through. Okay, Invasion. Kamano flips next turn. Cavern for the turn. It's gonna be human. Almost called Soldier there. So what do you think? Double down? Let's do it. It's probably better than Coppercoat Vanguard just getting picked up by something right away, right? We actually have a double block into Etching if we wanted to lose one. 1 mana card for a 1 mana card. The problem is if they have like Monstrous Rage, then that would be pretty bad. Yeah, that's not great. We should double block the Etching. For sure. We do not want them to flip this. Not when we have nothing to deal with it yet. Okay, Plaza of Heroes is fine, Adeline's fine, Vanguard's fine, everything's fine. But we're in trouble, aren't we? Like, because this is probably going to flip. They're probably going to focus it, too. Because Godric is likely to go in the air. And then they get a 4/4 dragon. And the Thundermaw is just super dangerous, man. Like, City of the Empire would be a good draw. Okay, Godric in the air, swinging in. No great swings on the ground thanks to Adeline. But a 4/4 in the air to block? Yeah, that's dangerous, dude. And it's going to start pinging our creatures, too, so... Not a bad draw at all. How do we not die in a couple turns? Buffing the board state isn't bad. We'll start with that. And then we can also get this down. The swing is pretty good here. Trample to Adeline. They probably don't... I mean, like, yeah, a chump would be one thing. The 4/4 is probably going to block a different thing. So maybe we just swing with Adeline. The flyers in the air is the problem, right? I'm going to full swing, actually. It's a tough decision, but... And then we are going to discard this. Hopefully that's fine, but we're just going for the damage, man. Like, that's what we're doing here. Yeah, can't play it because we have nothing else. Yeah, hopefully that discard's fine. The big thing here is, if they're going to win in 2 turns, then we also have to threaten to win in 2 turns as well to maybe slow them down. And so the full swing makes sense, even though they have a good block with the 4/4. The main goal is to get just as much damage through as possible. They are going to block on the ground with Swift Spear too. Not bad, not bad. So Godric's going in the air, probably regardless, because Squee gets them a 1/1. So I can only imagine whatever they play in hand is going to be that permanent that pushes Godric into the air. At that point, the swing with 2 dragons, they get 2 pings. One's going to be that Vanguard. They happen at the same time, right? So it depends if they want to use that ward to take out the Inti as well. Either way, I think Adeline's safe. Woo! Woo, buddy. Okay, Monstrous Rage. Yeah, so this is going in the air as a dragon. Oh, since it's happening after the attack, though, they might not actually get the second ping with the Thundermaw. So they'd want to ping... Yeah, they want to ping Vanguard. Then that goes in the air, so they don't get the other 2/2, luckily. Still a ton of damage. Holy cow. Being at 19, though, we are safe. So we can successfully block here and take 13 damage. Ow. And then full swing. They have nothing left in hand. We got there, guys. That swing from last turn was wild. That was something else. We can discard this. Hey, good game, opponent, for sure. Oops. Good game. There we go. Trying to click through it to make sure they're not waiting too long. After you establish the Inti on the board and actually have open mana, that's when, like, those discards actually start to get pretty good there. Because you saw we ditched a land, and then off the exile, we just saw another land that we would have been able to play. Luckily, that didn't matter anyways, but this could have been anything. That could have been another human to play for the turn, too, so... Neat. Very neat. Yeah, I think... Well, first of all, wow. The amount of extra damage that we were able to just pile through there is kind of insane, right? Man. It's keeping up with mono red very nicely. Hopefully we don't see more mono red, though. Obviously, I like to see a lot of variety, so... Anything, even mono black, bring it on, let's do this. And then I also want to see our top end do a thing today too, our 4-drop. Really want to see that Discover 3 do something. It's a fine hand, I guess. Opponent goes first. Okay, we'll give it a shot. Like, yeah, we have stuff to play every turn for a little while, but like if we don't see, well... I guess the double initiates isn't bad, is it? Let's go ahead and start with one of the initiates. And then next turn we go Officer, Initiate number 2. And then that swing on the turn after that could be insane, because we could pick up their blocker with Cathar and then full swing. It's just going to be some removal real quick. Up to 22. I'm going to take the pain damage. That's fine. Totally fine. Get the Initiate down again. Yeah, you never know when that Seat of the Empire is going to come in handy. If we were up against more mono red, then what I would have done was probably the Seat for the turn. But against a deck like this, just take that pain damage and hopefully keep that. Well, that's a perfect example, huh? Wow. That's probably a great one to take out with the Seat of the Empire. It's not a bad one to hit with Cathar too, honestly. Maybe. What else are we gonna hit? I mean, Cathar probably gets killed regardless. Yeah, actually, we'll do that. Instead of having them block, this is extra damage going through 2. Because it would have been block, then Seat of the Empire for 3. And then no extra creature on the board, right? So... hits nothing in this deck. Nice. Literally nothing gets hit by duress in the build. Oh, opponent's in danger. Oh, woohoo! Opponent's really in danger. I wonder if I start with the Appraiser instead. You guys think there's going to be a board wipe? You know what? Let's do it. Let's see if we might find a Vanguard off of the Appraiser. Brutal Cathar. Sure, why not? The Ancient one couldn't block yet anyways, but pretty cool. Well, Vanguard next turn could wipe, just completely obliterate. Like, we're wide enough, so... Hammer Skull. Oh, fight rigging, right? It is. It's fight rigging. Well, they don't know we had the Vanguard. Let's play that Vanguard and just full swing. I really don't care where the block happens here. One of the Brutal Cathars, and it would be the one that's the Shakedown heavy, right? But then they have 4, 3, 4, 3. So the best case scenario for the opponent there, nice ranking up. Let me see. Best case scenario would be Cut Down Vanguard. They didn't have it. Yeah, Cut Down Vanguard, block Cathar here. But either way, I was just going to keep slamming through every single turn regardless. Even if they got the Shakedown Heavy back, we still had another play for that turn too, so... Yeah, at any point they could have played Fight Rigging and then found something on their top end, and then things would have just got gross a little bit too fast. Nice. It's nice to not see the cut down. Like, a cut down for that one open mana that they had would have been awful. Outside of that, what else would that one mana have been? It was an open blue source too, right? So it could have been like Spell Pierce. We don't see too much Spell Pierce. Even so, Spell Pierce hits nothing in this build too, so... Okay, no double white for the Adeline. Do we try this? Opponent goes first. Yeah, we try this. We try this. I don't know if we're actually going to get held up on that double white. Like, the mana base is so good. And we have other 3-drops to play anyways until then. A perfect example, right? This Anim. Spell Spear. Oh boy. Okay, there's the second white source if we need it. We can't swing into a 3/3 trample, so we're just chilling. Yeah, everything else is a 3-drop in hand, so this is a super slow start, but I still think it was worth the shot here. Push the deck to its limits. Wow, they're going for it. Okay. Ow. They did not want to accept the trade with Etching and Officer, I see. So, Adeline, if we go... Okay, we should probably keep Seat. If we do this and they accept that trade, they might not. They might just kill the... Okay, hold on. Let's... Same concept here. Let's push it to its limit. So we get a Gnome, and they probably... Since they didn't want to trade, maybe they block the Gnome. They take the 2, and then we got the extra counter on this to help us continue to go wide. Oh, except like Lightning Strike exists in these builds easily as a 4 of, so. Woo, buddy. Okay, if it's Lightning Strike to face, are we dead? 2, 3, that's an extra 6 to face. You know what? No blocks. Let's see it, dude. It could be double play with fire. They drop us the oops, but we knew what we were doing. We knew the risks. I see the oops, opponent. Go ahead. Good game. Monstrous Rage and Monstrous Rage. Wait, is Monstrous Rage all they needed? Oh, it's double Monstrous Rage anyway. Oh, we would have died regardless of the block then, because of the trample. Because they had trample on Spellstalker, and then they would have had trample on 2 separate creatures too. So yeah, no matter where we blocked, wow. Yeah, GG opponent. That really lined up really well for them. So if I would have played it a little safer, no, Brutal Cathar couldn't have hit anything because of the ward once they flipped that. Yeah, once they flipped their 2-drop, that had like ward something. What was the ward on that? I don't remember right now, but I'll play with that card enough. It was like ward 2, right? For some reason, I can't remember. The Spell Spear. Oh well. Either way, the Brutal Cathar couldn't have picked it up. So we would have had to hit like Etching or something, which would have been pretty bad too, because they could have burnt that Brutal Cathar easily. Yeah, no, I think that was the opponent's regardless, guys. Oh, much better hand. And we go first. Yeah, having all those extra 3-drops too. Opponent, are you there, buddy? So turn 1 Warden into... I guess we'll save Cavern of Souls back for now. And just go right into the plains. That's totally fine. And then Cavern of Souls, call human, and probably the Inti over the Vanguard. I feel like giving this down and established is just really good. Also, getting counters onto the Warden right away seems insane. Human. Should I already start discarding is the question. No. Right? No. Only when we can actually play extra stuff off of the Inti right now, early game, right? Like, there's no extra benefit outside of that extra counter. Okay, so we could go Vanguard, buff, maybe we see a land off the Inti. Okay, we should go Vanguard. Like, we shouldn't swing and then just expect to see a Vanguard, you know what I mean? Swing for 2, and this time I'll discard. I guess we'll get rid of the other Inti, because I'm looking for a land. Now we actually have, like, a reason. Feldon. Goodbye, Feldon. Not this game, buddy. Not this game. Although that would have been pretty good off the top, right? Still looking for that land off the Inti, but this time round it looks like... Ooh. Yeah. Okay, let's go for the swing. It's got to be removal, right, for that Vanguard. Looking for the land. I guess we get rid of Appraiser, since we're far from the 4 right now. Onto the Warden, because Vanguard has just a huge target on its back. And so does the Inti, kind of. So, like, going onto the Warden makes a lot of sense. They gain 3. We found a land. Okay, we play that land, and what do we play? I guess the Anim. Hopefully it's not a board wipe from the opponent. Wild lines of play in here, guys. Absolutely wild lines. Yeah, Brutal Cathar. Probably wrapping this up unless this is like a cut down or something. Let's see it. Because we can easily take that 3 damage. Take action. And then full swing. And then we can also buff with the Inti before the Anim. That's pretty wild, man. That's pretty wild. We found a 1-drop to play too if we had to. Nice, dude, -8, holy cow. And they gained like 3 life that game too, so we did like 31 damage that game. Not too much happening from the opponent there. Flesh Gorger would have been a perfect blocker if we didn't have the removal. We just happened to have the removal. Would it still be a swing? The Flesh, if we didn't have Cathar, the Flesh Gorger would have blocked Vanguard really well. They would have gained 3, but like we still had all this other stuff going through and a couple gnomes too. Dang, bro. That's something else. 30 minutes in, we definitely have time for 1 or 2 more. Let's keep on rolling. Feels good so far, dude. Kind of what I was expecting. It's living up to my expectations, so. Yeah, there's gonna be a build every now and then that just has a little bit too much removal. That's definitely gonna just hold us back, but like, as you guys saw, we are probably going to get there, get the damage through before a Sunfall lands, which is kind of just insane to think about. Human. Oh, we could have played the Plains too. Oh well. Playing the Cavern of Souls down is awesome. It feels good. It feels really good. It feels like an excellent land. Swift Spear. Gruel colors. They keep that blocker back. All right. You know what? Cavern of Souls again. Let's do this. Human. And we're going to go Feldon. Really good swing. Really, really good swing. Really good hand. Holy cow. Where do I even start? Because if we go like Inti and buff the Feldon, I guess the training happens at the same time as the buff. Is that how that would work? We should probably test that. Go for the swing. They think they can outpace, and I believe them, so we have to be careful. It's probably... Let's go Plains instead of Forge. I got a little bit of lag there. We go Inti. Yeah, the swing would happen, then the buff would happen, and then training needs to be when it swings in, so that's not how that would work. So it's probably going to be Anim, right? And then get that gnome and get the ball rolling with that. This is like, it blocks okay for now, like if we need a blocker against Swift Spear, or it takes a lightning strike off of our face. Okay, that's dangerous. They're going to restock their hand a little bit. That also has Vigilance. Okay, no blocks. They're at 7. We're at 12. I'm feeling good. Whoo, buddy. M.O. Dane's Recruiter is disgusting, bro. Is that the play for the turn? That's the play for the turn. Yeah. Yeah. Every time we saw this Recruiter off the top, that is just disgusting beyond belief, man. Holy cow. That's the play. Because we're forcing blocks here, and should still be enough damage easily. Yeah. -7. Holy cow, guys. And we're only 33 minutes in, so as much as I'd love to end on a high note, we still might be able to end on a high note if we go another game. So let's do this. One more match and then go into the final thoughts. Oh, jeez. This feels good. Feels really good, man. Has anyone else been trying out Boros Humans? At some point, you know what I forgot to put on here? One of the reasons I wanted to try this out so early, too, was actually kind of a suggestion in the comments wanting me to revisit Boros Humans at some point. That was a little while ago, but I mean, so kind of sort of a suggestion in the comments. So thank you so much for the suggestion. Kind of forgot to put that at the beginning. Right. Excellent. Nothing new. Oh, Cavern of Souls is new, so I'd like to see Cavern of Souls do something against counterspell decks. Here we go. This might be the perfect showcase of it. Vanguard before combat. Swing for 3. And we don't worry about Cathar. We get Vanguard number 2 down for sure. Because we want that to happen before they get a 1-2. Yeah, we want to have ward on everything before too late. That's a good trade for them, isn't it? It's still the Vanguard. Vanguard full swing. Well, I'm gonna hold back, actually. Well, yeah, I'm actually, that's a, I feel like, maybe we shouldn't have held back, but I feel like that's a really good trade for them. Like, even though this could get ridiculous really fast, yeah, okay, now it's like a more even trade, I would say. But either way, we're probably going to pick up the, let's see, that trades into that. Old Rutstein blocks pretty well. We go Recruiter. I feel like Recruiter should be a little bit of a surprise when it comes time. Recruiter's still pretty good. It's probably Cathar, Souls of the Lost, or Old Rutstein, because Souls trades into one of the Vanguards. 2. It's going to be Souls full swing, because they can successfully block or trade, so they go for the trade. So they take 6 here, and then like Recruiter might be able to just wrap this up next turn then. I feel like that made the most sense, right? That line of play with Cathar. Because if we took Rutstein, it would have been pretty good, but then they would have had the trade into Vanguard, and then we would have lost that whole buff and whatnot. 1 open, so I suppose we just go Recruiter and full swing. Because the Vanguard, given ward to everything, makes this very tricky. And then it's just a whole bunch of extra damage to the face. GG opponent. GG. Well, let's go talk about the build, huh? Heck yeah, I had fun. Let's go, dude. I don't even know how much we won today. I mean, we lost a few, right? I think so. Prodigy, I've yet to play with that card. What's this? Some packs? Ooh. Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Let's see. Let's see what we get. Sanguine Evangelist. I love this one. That battle cry seems like it's going to be wild to try to pack into certain builds. That's a fun card. Alright, what do we got here? The Grand Squall. I've yet to play with that one too. There's so many cards, man. There's so many cards. Alright. Boros Humans. Yeah, lived up to my expectations. This was wild, man. I really like the variety of 3-drops. I really like the 2 of all of those. And there's a great reason to have that variety. It's the same concept that I was talking about when we were going over the build. At least I hope I went over that when I went over the build. I'm all over the place today, man. It's set release day, so the Discover 3, you'd much rather just play the card instead of like running into the issue of, oh no, I hit another Adeline, so I just have to put this in my hand instead of playing it, right? So having a good variety for that Appraiser seems excellent. Would have liked to see the Appraiser do a little more today, but it kind of did what I expected it to do, right? Just you play it and then you get more onto the board. How many games did we actually see this? I would have liked to see this a lot more. Like a lot more. I would have loved to, because I want more testing with like how good is that discovery actually though, you know what I mean? Just being able to hit whatever human you want out of the build, pretty much anything's fine. Even your 1-drops, you're totally fine playing a 4-mana human and then grabbing a 1-drop from the build, you know what I mean? So yeah, it just seems excellent on a lot of levels, man. The Recruiter, the 2 of, wow. Wow, dude. That's something else. Yeah, that was really good. Inti was really good. Anim was good. Anim was like same level as Adeline, right? Maybe a little worse than Adeline because we didn't like go super wide with gnomes, where at least the Adeline buffs itself. Well, so does this though. This gets counters every time you swing. But it doesn't get as like huge as Adeline, you know what I mean? No, yeah, like the equal amount of each seemed totally fine. Brutal Cathar being the choice spot removal was fine. Again, you're going to go up against those certain burn builds that just completely gobble through decks like this. Which, of course, then at that point, like that's why we have the 4 Vanguards for the ward, but also the 3 Thalia to tax them outrageously. Like those 3 Thalia against that one deck. Oh, now I can check, right? The Prowess deck we went up against. The Spell Spear. Ward 2. Okay, I was wondering, when you flip this, it gets that Ward 2, so we wouldn't have been able to hit that Brutal Cathar. And the Prowess as well. So against those decks, like you desperately need to see like Thalia, because even the Vanguard isn't going to save you from those decks now that they have the Monstrous Rage, because they don't even have to like target you with burn. They could just go Monstrous Rage onto their own creatures, like their Swift Spears, right? So they get around that ward in that sense. Or same concept with getting around the ward, they could just go burn to face instead and not worry about your creatures at all. So the Thalia was super essential, but only 3 Thalia in here because of like the whole Appraiser nonsense. Maybe we just like don't even worry about it and go up the 4th Thalia anyways. It kind of feels important against everything. Except for like other soldier builds and stuff, but even then, not all of those, like, if we look here again, 37 creatures, 37 humans, 23 land. If you go up against soldier builds, like they still have other forms of removal and stuff that at the very least they end up taxing themselves off of their own Thalia too, so we don't tax ourselves at all. So even up against like other soldier builds and stuff with Thalia or anything like mono white humans and stuff too, yeah, we probably want 4 Thalias. So what would we drop? What would we add or take out? I really liked having the 10-1 drops. Those seemed super efficient, especially like the Initiate. Well, no, they all seemed pretty good. We couldn't get that Warden to have enough counters, but we saw how easy it could have been, especially with that Inti. That being said, I could see a 1-of. I'm not certain how essential this is. So if we drop down to 1, go up to 4 Thalia, I think that would be fine, right? I still like the 1-of Feldon too. If you go down any 1 drops, then there's going to be moments where when you're spamming stuff onto the board and wanting to give it haste with Recruiter, then you might not always see, like if you have 4 mana, 1 drop into Recruiter happens to be pretty powerful, given that 1 drop haste as well as buffing your already present board state. So having 1 less 1 drop would make that occur less, but is that necessary over like going up a Thalia? Probably not. Could also probably drop an Intrepid Adversary. It kind of felt like we weren't seeing a lot of games where we actually had our 4th mana, right? Don't quote me on that. I don't know. The mana just felt fine, so I wasn't even like registering the mana. Like most of those games, like we were just fine in like all of them. So all 4 caverns, all 4 courtyards were excellent. Did the plaza ability didn't come into play today, but did it hold us up? No, I don't think so. So I think this is still fine. The 1-of Restless is fine. Just everything was fine. Guys, let me know what you would add or take out, because I wouldn't change too much. I think the big thing is going up that 4th Thalia, and that's just based on what I was seeing today. So there might be a new standard developing at some point. Like we didn't go up against any mid-range dinos for some reason. I thought that was going to be all over the place day 1, but nothing. So like mid-range dinos, how many non-creature cards do they play? Not too many, right? A lot of their cards are just creatures. A lot of their ramp is creatures. So like maybe we don't want the 4th Thalia. Like we just have no idea where the meta is actually going to land. So guys, if you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. I feel like I could talk about the build for a little bit longer. Oh, another thing, yeah, let me know in the comments for sure. What do you think about this Geological Appraiser? What else do we want to try this in? I feel like there's probably something like some kind of mid-range build we could try this into. I see some people trying Boros Discover, which sounds really strong. Just Discover in general. Discover seems like it's just waiting to be broken. Yeah. I really like that on the top end. Oh, the 2-of Seat of the Empires were fine too. Yeah, whenever you don't have too much removal packed in, like the 23 land was a good amount for this curve anyways, so the whole legendary rule isn't going to hold you up too often on the Seat of the Empire. You're just going to use it as removal more often than not, especially if you're up against a lot of that mono red like we were seeing too. Being able to go Seat of the Empire, take out Godric is essential. So yeah, cool stuff. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video.